Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for joining us. It is such an honor to have you here with us. My name is Shawa Agustia, and I will be the first interviewer for today's session. I would like to warmly welcome our speakers, Ms. Sangarini Nomi. Thank you so much for being here and for taking the time to share your experiences with us. Before we begin, Ms. Sangarini Nomi, could you please briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Hey, first of all, thank you for inviting me. My name is Naomi. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. My name is Andalia Naomi, and yeah, you can ask anything as you want.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Anggreen Naomi, for the introduction. Begin our discussion, I would like to start with a general question. First, Ms. Anggreen Naomi, could you please tell us what kind of ELP business or program you are currently running?
Okay, thank you, Sawa. Actually, you can call me Naomi. We are guys in the same field. So I running what we call yeah. It is kind of like course, but if you know like bintang private or something like that, it's not really big like this course. I only have one peer tutor here, which is me and my sister, but we'll try to best for this course so it can be bigger as soon as possible. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Naomi. It's really interesting to learn about your ELT program. Additionally, we would love to learn more about your background. Could you share your journey and how you first got started in English language teaching?
Okay, so I was an English education student, same like you here. I was graduate from JMB University in August 2024. So I got my bachelor degree, which is education, especially English education. So my background is really related to business, actually, English language teaching. And about what what did you say before? I'm sorry. What question did you say before?
Uh, could you share your journey and how you first got started in English language teaching? Yes.
Okay. One, I didn't expect I can be and English language teaching. I mean, entrepreneur in this English language teaching. Um, I think I could be a formal teacher, like after get my bachelor degree, I will go to PPG, something like that. But my journey has been different because I go back to my hometown after I got my degree from what we called. So before I held my thesis exam, actually I did an interview with one of the elementary school in Jambi. But after I got my bachelor degree, not really a degree, after my thesis exam, I need to move to my hometown because I need to take care of my mom actually. So yeah, I didn't expect I can be the my English course, but it is a really long story because after 6 months, actually, yeah, one semester, yeah, 6 months, I do everything without think that I can be a teacher, only focusing on my mom, but my came to me and asked for help for helping her daughter, which is my cousin, yeah, when she knows I have been graduate and she need an assist to English subject on her the other subject at school. So I think that why not? Why not? I can do this. Why not? So I decided to start my English course for the first one. It's only focusing on English course, but now I also what we called have do you know guys calistung subject like membaca, menulis dan berhitung. So I teach not only English but also another subject. But my major and my focus is English, of course. Yeah, that's from me.
Thank you so much, Miss Naomi. I'm really looking forward to hearing your story. Now I would like to hand over the session to Indah Mariama, who will continue the interview.
Okay, thank you. My name is Indah Mariama, and nice to meet you for Miss Naomi. And then thank you for your participant. And let me ask you for the next question. Okay, so my question for you is, what motivate you to become an entrepreneur in the ELT field instead of only becoming a teacher?
Okay, thank you for your question, Inda. So, as I said before, because I don't have any what we call a change do to becoming a teacher in a government, because after I graduate, I must be moved to my come back to my hometown, and then if you know, guys, if you want to be a teacher at the government school, you need to do a PPG first, and after I graduate, there is no PPG, especially in English education. So some of schools at my hometown actually asked me to become an English teacher at their school, but the school is far away from me. It's like 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes. And I cannot leave my mom alone because that's only me that can take care of my mom, because my dad must be go to work, my sister have their education. So I decided to reject that offer. So I decided to start my business, start my course, because I can running my course at my hometown. But for the first one, actually, I started at my grandma's house, because my house is not big enough. My living room is not big enough. Yeah, so I decided to start this because actually the first one, what we call ya, kepepet kepaksa mau nggak mau gitu. Instead of I just sit at home, ya my mom condition juga udah get better. Jadi ya, why not I started this. So because itu sudah dimulai dan kenapa tidak dilanjutkan, dan ya itu bertahan sampai hari ini. Thank you for your question, Indah.
Okay, thank you for your sharing, Miss Naomi. And then, uh, I have a next question for you. I think you must have challenges, right, for this ELT business. So my question is, what challenges did you face when starting your ELT business, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, thank you. And actually, your question, guys, is really hard, because if we must explain this, it can be one title of thesis. Ini bisa jadi satu judul skripsimu, because my thesis, ya, skripsi saya juga waktu itu about challenges and the solution. Okay, I will I will define. into two challenges here, the business aspect and also the education aspect. Ya karena I running an education business ya. The first one from the business aspect, there are two points also, internal and external. For the first one is running a business. The first one that you need is consistent, being a consistent person. Like sometimes you can be very on fire, but sometimes you can be very tired. Sometimes you can be very happy, but sometimes you are also feel sadness and something else. But if you are running a business, you must be consistent. Baik hujan, baik panas, bagaimana kamu jalankan bisnismu, kamu harus konsisten. If we know like being a professional, yeah, you cannot bring your sadness into your class. Yeah, the students itu nggak tahu menahu apa yang terjadi dengan kamu. You must be a teacher yang mereka tahu saat mereka pertama kali kenal kamu. Bahkan makin hari will be better. Features from the business challenge is finance management. Of course, finance. If you're running a business, it's about getting money. If you know, if we are running a small business, you also the the manager, the finance staff. Jadi kamu harus tahu bagaimana kamu mengelola your income, bagaimana kamu mengelola your outcome. Then it is very difficult because our basic is not accounting, right? Our basic is not business management. Jadi ya kamu harus belajar ini. Mungkin belajar dari nol, mati-matian gimana cara kamu bisa mengatur your finance. And the third one, internal factors from the business aspect, challengesnya itu about marketing and promotion actually. We know that if we running a new business, we should do promotion. Dari mana orang tahu kamu running a business kalau kamu nggak kasih tahu orang, ya kan? Nah, hal yang paling easy zaman sekarang, the most easiest thing that you can do right now is about the digital marketing. You using your social media. So at my hometown, actually, most people at my hometown use Facebook, very old social media, tapi banyak yang gunakan ini at my hometown. Jadi I do promotion there, post something like flyer or something like that. Why it can be challenging for me because at the beginning there are no likes, there are no comments, there are no share at my post. Jadi sometimes pikir ini jalan gak ya? Kok gak ada yang tertarik, gak ada engagement. Tapi how I can overcome this, ya udah konsisten itu tadi ya, posting terus. And after all of the marketing and promotion from social media, the most important one that I get the most appropriate, the most helpful promotion is by my mother, my student's mother. Jadi ibu-ibu itu akan share ke ibu-ibu lainnya bahwa anakku ikut les di sana kayak gitu. Jadi at the beginning I only have 5 students, only 5 students. 3 itu on the first grade of elementary school dan 2-nya itu kelas 5 SD. Only 5 students. Tapi dari mama-mama mereka itu mereka kasih promosi ke orang-orang. Itu yang paling membantu sebenarnya. Oke, jadi itu dari business challenges. And then kalau dari business challenges yang external, you know guys that we have market competition, of course ada kompetisi. But fortunately, untungnya at my hometown, that's only me yang running English course ya. Tapi ini juga masuk tantangan. Kenapa? Because lack of public interest at my hometown. English is not a really top subject. Apa sih bahasa Inggris itu? Zaman di desa ini, di zaman saya dulu itu mulai SMP baru ada English. Nah, untungnya now English itu mulai dari SD. Jadi ini buka peluang, buka opportunity untuk penggiat bisnis di bidang les bahasa Inggris. Tapi because English is not a really top subject, itu nggak menarik mereka gitu. Jadi how to engage the society, how to engage the public. Kalau English itu penting, itu tantangannya. Ya tadi balik lagi konsisten. Jadi from the business itself, the most challenges that I am the teacher. I am also the admin. I am also the marketing staff. I also the finance staff. Yeah, I also the social media specialist, and it's it can be concluded we must be all rounder. Ya kalau di K-pop itu banyak yang bilang kan all rounder. Apa-apa aja harus bisa karena kita jalannya sendiri. Selagi bisnis ini masih merintis kan. And next from the educational aspect, ada internal, ada external challenges juga. The first one, yang internal, limited access to students study book. Of course, at my hometown, only the teachers have this to study book, buku paketnya itu. The students, kamu gak akan temukan itu pada mereka. Jadi, itu challenge. Solusinya, after the student get the material, kamu harus lihat, kamu harus rajin-rajin WA mereka, WA mamanya, tanya, tadi belajar apa? Supaya kamu bisa punya gambaran harus ngajarin apa. Dan I also chat the teacher at the school. Saya juga tanya belajarnya apa, bukunya apa. Itu solusinya. And then about making the most appropriate syllabus or material, karena itu tadi bahasa Inggris itu masih baru-baru di sini, not a top subject. Jadi harus pinter-pinter susun materinya gimana. Permintaan orang tua itu gimana? Mau anaknya only focus on the school material atau juga bisa ditingkatkan skill-skill lainnya. Di sekolah mereka nggak akan dapat sebanyak bagaimana mereka dapat di les. Itu yang harus dipikirkan juga. Itu really challenges. Karena kita susah untuk memahami karakter-karakter si anak itu tadi, kebutuhan-kebutuhan mereka, memahami keperluan di sekolah juga. And then about a lack of time, of course. At the first of my journey, ya only 5 students, tapi beriring waktu nambah-nambah, of course, waktu semakin berkurang. Because I am the tutor itself, I am the finance staff, I am the admin, I am the marketing. Jadi kayak tugas itu numpuk-numpuk gitu, nggak kelar-kelar. Apalagi kalau sudah mepet-mepet waktu ujian. Itu of course saya harus buat soal-soal ujian, simulasi-simulasi ujian mereka. Lack of time. And also I have my personal life ya. Personal life juga itu nggak bisa lepas dari kehidupan kita lah. Kita kan nggak cuma fokus kerja. I have my family, I have my friends yang juga butuh waktu sama kita. And also limited technology devices and places tadi, karena belum punya my own building, jadi itu masih jadi challenges kayak gimana meyakinkan masyarakat gitu kalau kita jalankan ini tapi masih di rumah aja, tapi kualitasnya nggak kalah kok sama yang sudah punya bangunan sendiri. Kalau about the technology devices, it's about laptop. I do have a laptop actually. Tapi ternyata kalau kelasnya rame, layarnya nggak cukup tuh. Jadi we need a projector in focus. Tapi kan dananya besar. Terus if it is near to the what we call dia exam di akhir semester bakalan sering ujian, saya harus buat soal-soal ujian, simulasi-simulasi, harus ngeprint. Sementara nggak punya printer, jadi ya solusinya pergi ke tempat tukang fotokopi ya, tukang ngeprint, dengan ya itu nggak boleh sembarang juga di sini kita harus diperhitungkan mana yang murah lagi, mana yang kualitasnya bagus kayak gitu. Makanya sangat-sangat menantang kalau sudah menggabungkan antara bisnis dan education ini. Nah kalau dari eksternal yang education aspect challenges-nya itu Lack of students English skill, karena di desa English is not a really important subject. Skillnya beda jauh sama yang di kota. And lack of student motivation. Gak semua student yang datang les itu karena mereka pengen belajar bahasa Inggris. Most of them itu karena disuruh oleh mamanya. Jadi motivationnya itu bermacam-macam tingkat ininya, motivasinya. And then loss of students. Kenapa bisa loss of students? Karena sistem at my course itu paymentnya, pembayarannya itu setiap pertemuan gitu. Kalau di kota-kota itu kan biasanya pakai paket ya, package-nya berapa pertemuan sekian, bayarnya itu mungkin di awal, mungkin di akhir, itu mengikat. Tapi kalau saya nggak pakai kayak gitu. Kalau kamu datang, kamu bayar. Kalau kamu nggak datang, kamu nggak bayar. Tapi yang penting kamu terdata kayak gitu. Nggak asal-asal siapa mau tetap harus daftar dulu. Tapi kalau masuk datang bayar. Kalau memang lagi nggak bisa datang ya nggak apa-apa nggak bayar. Jadi itu bisa menyebabkan lebih gampang kehilangan mereka. Jadi penghasilan juga nggak pasti kan dalam sehari. Kenapa? Kenapa pilih kayak gini? Kenapa nggak pakai package tadi? Pembayaran paymentnya di awal or paymentnya di akhir. Karena beda. Karena tadi kita di desa tidak terbiasa about course, apalagi English course itu nggak terbiasa, nggak se-familiar, nggak se-common di big city kayak di Jambi. Di Jambi, after you school, you go home, then you go to your course, itu biasa. Di sini enggak, itu enggak hal yang biasa. Masyarakat di sini tentang pendidikan itu enggak seringan itu untuk mengeluarkan uang. Jadi kalau per pertemuan, itu kan lebih ringan, kayak gitu. Ya, itu Indah. That's all from me. A very long answer ya Indah.
Okay, thank you, Miss Naomi. I think that really motivate us and give us many new experiences. Uh, okay, I really thank you for your answer, Miss Naomi. So I think next question will be continued by Devinta.
Okay, so good evening, Miss Naomi. Before we get to the next question, let me introduce myself first. My name is Devinta. So the question I'm going to ask you is, how do you balance educational goals with business goals in your ELT venture?
Okay, thank you. Devinta. Devinta, right? Devinta ya
Yes.
namanya, betul ya?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Good question. Kita pernah dengar ini, pasti kalian pernah dengar ini. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a teacher, you cannot being a businessman or businesswoman. Kenapa? Itu bertentangan sekali batinmu, pasti bertentangan. A businesswoman, a businessman, seseorang yang melakukan usaha, tujuannya menghasilkan keuntungan. Ada ini apa? Pepatah ekonomi atau hukum ekonomi, pokoknya modal sekecil-kecilnya, keuntungan sebesar-besarnya. Betul kan? Tetapi kamu adalah seorang guru, ya. Seorang guru itu pasti you want to give your best to your students, pasti itu. Ada keinginan itu. For example gini, if you are a teacher at the government school ya, sekolah-sekolah pemerintah, sekolah negeri, yang kamu bukan pemiliknya. You come to the school, then you come to the class, you teach, you go back to your home, and then you will get paid, dapat gaji. Kamu nggak memikirkan di sekolahan itu kalau ngeprint soal duitnya dari mana. Di sekolahan itu kalau ngisi spidol tintanya dari mana. Di sekolahan itu kalau mau ada beli barang gitu kan, barang rusak, jam dinding, sapu, itu duitnya dari mana ya. Kamu nggak pikir itu. But when you are running your business, itu semua jadi pikiranmu. Kenapa? Kamu akan berpikir, ternyata ya ngisi spidolmu itu setiap bulan itu pakai duit siapa yang kamu mau minta? Kamu harus putar modalmu tadi kan. Ternyata kalau ada barang yang rusak, kamu harus beli gantinya. Dari mana? Ternyata kalau kamu mau musim ujian tadi ya, kamu melakukan try out simulation, you need to print all the papers ya, ngeprint itu. Kalau nggak punya printer, mau ngeprintnya itu uang printnya dari mana? Kalau mau beli printer, uang beli printernya itu dari mana? Itu kan sangat bertentangan ya. Makanya I have watched one of TikTok videos kayak not a TikTok, itu podcast dulu lupa dari mana. Itu gak akan bisa, di dalam diri kita akan bertentangan antara kamu itu mau jadi si tutor tadi yang nggak pentingin uang itu. Pokoknya yang penting aku mau berikan yang terbaik. Atau kamu mau menjadi si bisnis woman itu tadi kan, gimana kamu dapat uang. Terus gimana menjaga itu tetap balance? First of all, remember where you came. Dari mana sih kamu berasal? Kamu basicmu apa? Basicmu teacher. Who you are teacher kan? Kamu dapat title itu SPD, sarjana pendidik kamu. Terus what is your first goal? Pertama kali kamu mendirikan bimbel ini apa? Kalau aku pribadi memang lebih condongnya ke teacher itu tadi. Tapi ya seperti ini, di dunia pendidikan nggak melulu kita itu berada di bawah pemerintahan yang kamu bakal digaji. Suatu saat kamu akan pikir supaya kamu bisa menjalankan bisnismu sendiri. Makanya kalian juga punya matkul ini ya. Ini very good course actually. Jadi gimana caranya supaya tetap balance? First of all, you need a partner. Kalau kamu tadi lebih condongnya ke teacher, berarti kamu need a partner yang lebih condongnya ke bisnis. So you can running this business in education, ada progresnya, gak stuck, apalagi mundur. Ya, you need a partner. Dan sebelum kamu mulai, saat kamu memulai sampai seterusnya, you also need a good discussion with your partner. Kalau maybe one partner is not enough, you need to ask to another person yang jalanin sama seperti ini. I always ask to my friends, like I have my friends at what we call ya, sama satu kelas gitu, sama-sama juga jalanin bisnis. Saya tanya di dia, gimana gini-gini segala macam, masalah hal-hal yang perlu ditanyakan. Tanyakan juga sama yang ada di sini yang nggak satu kelas, tapi dia juga buka bisnis yang kebetulan kami kenal gitu. Tanya. Jadi harus punya partner yang menyeimbangkan kamu gitu. Jadi kamu nggak condong berat sebelah. Karena pada dasarnya kita nggak akan bisa stay balance kalau nggak akan bisa. Pasti akan ada condong, satu mau kejar bisnisnya atau satu mau kejar teachingnya tadi. Good question, Devinta.
Okay, thank you, Miss Naomi. So we move on the next question. What advice would you give to student or teacher who want to start their own ELT related business?
Okay, if you want to be entrepreneur in English language teaching, ya. Kan kata entrepreneur itu kalau kita tahu mungkin bahasa Indonesia itu wirausaha ya, wirausaha. My teacher said to me, wirausaha dari kata wira berani, usaha berusaha. Of course, yang harus kamu miliki itu keberanian. Be brave and be brave. Be brave-nya itu bagaimana? Apakah be brave-nya itu terjang? No. Be brave-nya itu kamu bisa maju, kamu bisa istirahat kalau kamu rasa memang ini butuh waktu istirahat, kamu berani juga untuk stop kalau ini nggak akan menghasilkan. Ya, jadi nggak semua bisnis yang kamu mulai itu pasti berhasil, banyak pasti gagal dulu. Mungkin kebetulan saya jalankan di sini agak-agak oke gitu, bukan belum berhasil yang sampai wow, tapi udah berjalan lebih dari 1 tahun dan mungkin menurut saya udah berhasil sampai sini. Jadi be brave, berani untuk maju, istirahat, dan kapan harus stop, itu harus. Dan of course, you must prepare your brain, siapin otaknya. Kamu mau jalanin bisnis apa? Teaching apa? English. Kalau kamu nggak punya skill in English, gimana kamu mau ngajarin itu ke anak-anak didikmu? Ya, itu yang pertama. Yang kedua, prepare your brain-nya juga tadi di finance management, di marketing management, gimana kamu bisa manage itu semua. Jadi nggak cukup cuman berani kalau kamu nggak punya skill dalam apa yang mau kamu kembangkan. I have no skill at cooking, for example. Terus saya mau maksa buka bisnis rumah makan, kacau dong. Masak aja nggak pernah. Gimana mau bikin kreasi masakan yang disukai masyarakat? Jadi harus relate at your passion ya. Passionmu di mana? Kenali. Kalau dibilang orang bohong lah, passion nggak passion. Kerjakan apa yang kamu sukai, sukai yang apa yang kamu kerjakan. Kalau kerjaan itu buat kamu capek, yang tidak bahagia, it's not your passion. Tapi kalau kerjaan itu buat kamu capek, tapi kamu rasa kepuasan, it's your passion. Oke, Devinta, thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Naomi, for joining us to this interview, and thank you so much for sharing your insight and experiences with us today. We learned a lot, and your answer were really helpful and inspiring us. So, thank you very much, and have a great day, Miss.
Okay, thank you for inviting me, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Naomi.
Thank you.